Good morning, welcome back to the show. 10:52 is the time. Let's talk about migration. Yeah, we do that quite a lot on the show. But some very interesting new figures today to discuss. Jamie Jenkins joins us. He's a former statistician with the Office for National Statistics. That is very hard to say, by the way. Good morning to you, Jamie.
Morning, Julia. You all good?
Very well indeed. I want to talk to you about the figures which we found out overnight before we get to the figures we got only just at 9:30 this morning. But figures involving illegal migrants, and more than 53,000 of them are missing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised really, Julia. So we've got people who obviously are coming on small boats, getting into the country. We've people coming on visas who then claim asylum when they have to go home, and 53,000 going missing. The reason I'm not surprised is if people are making the journey to come here in the first place, then if there's a potential that they're going to have their asylum claim rejected and they're going to be deported, well, what's the simplest way of solving that? Well, I'm just going to go and vanish. And
ta-da!
And the key thing here is that, you know, we had Rachel Reeves again in the budget talking about digital ID and tackling illegal work and illegal immigration. I've spoken previously of the, you know, we've got digital ID cards in other parts of the world, and that hasn't fixed that. So if we had digital ID, would these 53,000 suddenly just not vanish and reappear? Of course not. No. So I'm not surprised here, Julia.
I mean, it really is an absolute nonsense, and everyone knows it. But it is extraordinary, I mean, because it does include 736,000, or no, on top of that, 736,000 foreign offenders who've also absconded and gone missing after being released from prison or from detention. And we've had a few of those very high-profile cases recently. The Ethiopian who had sexually assaulted a 14-year-old in Epping being among those. These people are literally just disappearing, and no one knows where they are. But we know that they're criminals, and we know they're not supposed to be in the country. I mean, this is an absolute. I mean, it is a joke. I mean, how bad this system is.
It's a joke, but you know, if you look at the Home Office annual report, one of the things they say in there is that the Home Office's main duty is to protect the border and protect the public. So the fact that they're failing on all measures. Yeah. It basically means the government, not just this government, the previous governments, are a complete shambles and a complete failure. Yeah. Until you get a grip on the border, you aren't going to get the safety for the people who live here already.
No, indeed. And again, as you're quite right, you know, that you should actually put this at both, you know, the Tory government's door as well. But also some figures for the Office of Budget Responsibility yesterday as part of their budget report, the one we got leaked ahead of the budget, pointing out that net migration is set to rise by the end of the Parliament, despite these visa crackdowns, not just by Shabana Mahmood, but also, of course, we had them from Rishi Sunak after that absurd Boris wave. But they warned the Home Secretary that net migration will hit 340,000 by 2030 because of those Boris wave migrants remaining in the UK rather than returning to their home countries. And now that's a concern. But interestingly, we've had some figures this morning at 9:30 this morning suggesting actually that we're going to be seeing numbers going down, and net migration to the UK has dropped by 2/3 to the lowest figure in 4 years. So can you explain how it can be dropping but then going up, and why that is all happening?
Yeah, easy explanation on this one. So the OBR wouldn't have had access to the latest ONS figures when they were doing their forecast. And all they've done basically, Julia, is taken kind of the latest policies around immigration. And then when we get a little bit further out, they've taken the ONS population projections that were done a few years ago, which would be based on the kind of previous levels of immigration.
All right, they're just guessing.
Yeah, basically.
They're guessing. They're going, finger, win, yeah, we think it's going to hit this. So we should take this at pinch of salt. To be fair, they've often been wrong even about figures like for the last year. They have to revise them all the time. They, for instance, didn't realise quite how many Brits were leaving the country. They thought it was a few tens of thousands, and it turned out to be 250,000.
Yeah, and when they do modelling, they actually do a number of different scenarios. They'll do a high immigration, a low immigration, right, and they have to land somewhere in the middle. And that's kind of what the OBR have done, is just gone back towards us. I wouldn't think that that's too much cause for alarm. But the figures that have come out this morning, and Julia, very quickly, what they're showing is, so net immigration's come down. The reason that's come down is mainly because of the crackdowns that were put in force by Rishi Sunak on the visas. So work entrants are down, study visas are down, and dependents coming in are down as well. But what the continuation we do see in the numbers, though, Julia, is the net immigration is caused by non-EU people coming in, India, China and Pakistan, the top 3 countries. Yeah. And we are still seeing net emigration. We spoke recently about the revisions that we've seen, but we're still seeing net emigration. So more Brits leaving than coming in. And it's no surprise the way the budget went yesterday if the numbers get even more next year.
Well, and this is the issue, isn't it? So we can go, oh, well, it's not so bad. Well, most of that is because basically the public found out about the Boris wave when those numbers were apparently a complete shock to the Home Office ahead of the last election, and Rishi Sunak went, we're going to put the kibosh on that. So most of this isn't actually the work of the Labour government, certainly not Shabana Mahmood, who's only been in the job as Home Secretary for a couple of months. But the crucial thing is, even as the numbers do come down, the people coming in are not necessarily skilled people from the EU. They're largely unskilled, I mean, particularly from India and Pakistan, particularly from Pakistan. We know the rate of unemployment from people from Pakistan is one of the highest rates in the country. But also, crucially, that the people who are coming in are more likely to be lower skilled and low wage than the Brits who are choosing to leave. And that's a really big issue for our demographics and, frankly, for balancing the books.
Yeah, it has huge implications. And obviously we know that when people come from India and Pakistan, just generally they have larger families. If they're younger people, they're going to cost more with this change in the child benefit policy that come yesterday, because there's just generally people who are born from outside of the EU. When you look at the number of children that they have in their families, the statistics do show that they're higher.
Is that good for our demographics though? We're told we need more kids.
Well, we do need more children, Julia, but ultimately, the government needs to get a grip, and we don't need to bring more people in to create more children. We need to have policies that are more family friendly to encourage people who are already here to have more children. That's the ultimate thing. But successive governments have not built enough houses. You were talking about that just recently. The cost of trying to get on the housing ladder has gone through the roof in relation to wages. So young adults don't tend to live together as early as they did in previous generations.
They ain't making babies. Children. Yeah, it's as simple as that, isn't it? Jamie Jenkins, former statistician at the ONS, thank you so much.